Jesse Minter's father, Rick Minter, might have just revealed some key details on what the 2026-2027 Ravens might look like. But before we get into that, please drop down below in the comments what you rate my cowboy hat 1 through 10. Be sure to like the video. This is Quiet Storm Sports. Let's get into it. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back. Welcome in. Welcome one and welcome all. My name is Sutton Def, and you are listening to Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Before we get into anything else, be sure, please, to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, because we got some good stuff to get into. I've been kind of stewing over this all day. I've been waiting to bring you guys this content on what Rick Minter, again, Jesse Minter's father, had to say about this Ravens team, about his son Jesse Minter, about where he thinks the Ravens are going, and also who else might be on the staff that we haven't heard about just yet, right? So we're gonna get into all of that. Of course, I'm not gonna wear this cowboy hat the entire episode. I'm gonna take it off right now. As a matter of fact, maybe I'll put it back on. You know, maybe we'll see. But before we do that, of course, we are live. Of course, like the video if you are watching live. If you're part of the hashtag replay gang on this one, leave a comment down below with a hashtag replay gang and let me know what you thought about this episode. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you might be thinking, your questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, whatever it may be, leave it down below in the comments section. If you are new here as well, please consider subscribing. This is a Baltimore Ravens centric YouTube channel. If you like to follow Baltimore Ravens content daily, you can lock in with us here at the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Again, I am your host, Sutton Def. We are here pretty much every day on Quiet Storm Sports, besides Monday and Thursday, because that's when we have our official Purple Rain podcast. Mondays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and my co-host, Simply AS10. But outside of that, it's me, Quiet Storm Sports. My name is Sutton Def again, and welcome in. Welcome in. Let me see. I see my guy Zeke is in the chat here early. What's going on, Zeke? Appreciate you for popping out, coming through. Also, Glaucoma is in the house. What up, Glaucoma? Got some of our usual suspects in here. Always a big, big shout out to the Rain Gang. So listen, guys. Yesterday, and I want to preface, before we get to the video, I want to preface this with this. 105.7 The Fan is a radio show that covers Baltimore sports and hosted by friend of the show, Cordell Woodland. And if you want to watch that full interview, because we're going to be reacting to that interview today here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports, but if you want to watch the full interview uninterrupted, make sure you go down to the description and click on the link in the description, because it'll be right there. We also have Tila in the house. What's up, Tila? Watching live. We also have Drewski watching live. 2 members here in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all of our Purple Rain patrons. But okay, let's not mince any more words. Let's go ahead and get into what we came in here to get into, the juicy stuff, right? Pull us on over here. As you guys can see, got our guy Cordell Woodland on the screen right there. Shout out to him again. If you want to watch this full interview, click the link down below in the description. But Rick Minter, again, Jesse Minter, Ravens' new head coach, his father gave us a lot of key insight on what he thinks Jesse Minter will bring to this Ravens team in 2026, 2027, and years beyond. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. There we go.
Up the phone and called John, who's a dear friend, and I said, listen, you need to do what you can to get Jesse to the NFL. And it's so ironic, twist of fate, Jesse replaces John in Baltimore. But if you could just hear the conversation I had with John 9 years ago, I said, John, let me tell you this, Jesse is exactly like you. I mean.
Now, real quick. I mean, that sounded like a threat. Low key. I mean, you say Jesse Minter is exactly like John Harbaugh. I don't know how people like. What do you mean by that? You guys know the Drewski mean? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Because I mean, again, that don't sound like a good time. We just came off of 18 years of John Harbaugh, got 1 Super Bowl, but outside of that, largely jack shit else. So what do you mean by that, Rick? He's just like Harbaugh. Let's continue listening.
It's kind of prophetic, but it says, John, he is a great person. People attract to him. He got a great personality. He's very magnetic. People like to be around him. He's bright. He's articulate. He's a good looking person, handles himself well, quick learner, quick study. Was I describing John or was I describing Jesse, right? It was all about the same. They brought him up for an interview and offered him a job. Once he gets in the door, he's on his own. He worked under Dean for 1 year there as kind of his little right hand. And then where the scheme was born was when Wink got promoted to D coordinators. You guys know all these stories. And Mike got moved to linebacker. Jesse got moved into the secondary. Chris Hewitt also played for me at Cincinnati. So there's a tremendous influence between Cincinnati, the Ravens, and Michigan, and all these other Mentor Harbaugh connections now. But that's where the defensive philosophy that the Ravens still, execute under, Mike executes, Jesse executes, was born right there in 2018. John.
So really quick, guys, I think it's important to point out here what Rick Minter is saying. He's basically saying in so many words that, this kind of hardball tree, right? And the Michigan and Cincinnati, it all ties in, like it's all woven into each other. So what does that really mean? I think it really means that Jesse Minter, of course, is from the same ilk as a Mike McDonald, right? Michigan ties, things like that. Of course, has been with Baltimore before in the past. So for the 2026 season and beyond, I think you can fully 1000% expect to see the return of that coveted and signature Ravens defense. They know what it is. They know the formula. They have the secret sauce that Zach Orr, much as, I respect Zach Orr, did not have. Right? Zach Orr was promoted off of just purely vibes. Purely vibes. I mean, I think it was a good story. You brought in Zach Orr. I mean, his playing career was cut short due to injury. And then you bring him in as a linebackers coach, and he does well there for a couple of years, and then you just kind of propel him to be a defensive coordinator. But he never really came from the tree. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting like a level of wisdom, a level of knowledge that Zach Orr just quite simply didn't have. And you look at the defense, like the personnel that the Ravens had on defense, right? They should not have been performing as piss poor as they did, right? There's too much talent on the Ravens defensive side of the football for them to start off 2 seasons back to back through 8 weeks as a bottom three defense in this league. I think what Rick Minter here is saying is that, like, Jesse Minter, he knows how to steady the ship, right? He already knows what to do when you put him at the control deck of the Ravens defense. He's going to know what to do early on. And that gives me so much hope that the Ravens can actually get off to a fast start and not have to play catch up for the third season in a row. But let's continue listening to what Rick has to say about his son.
Said, listen, we're going to name Wink, but we want to retool the defense. Let's get more modern. Let's get more streamlined. Let's get more contemporary. Here's my vision. And then you guys go to work. I mean, that's just what he instructed the defense staff to do. And with Jesse, Mike, Wink, Chris, all of them, they put their heads together and came up with this package that they now employ there. And Mike took his version of it. Jesse has taken his version of it. Wink ran with it for 3 or 4 years there, took it to the Giants, ironically replaced Jesse at Michigan, had a level of success. So that package and that philosophy, I really do think, is what's contemporary in pro football. Scoring on offense has come down slightly in the league. And I really believe it's because of people's willingness to play 2 high safeties. Vinny, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Play 2 high safeties, force you to run the ball, do some 2-gapping up front if you need to, and do some techniques that are special to playing a light box and hang on.
And that's another thing. You talk about the 2 high safety looks and then the 2 gapping inside, sort of these mid blitzing techniques. You saw a lot of that actually in the Super Bowl, coached up by Mike McDonald for the Seahawks. I mean, he's spitting right now. He's talking about how that philosophy They all have their own spin on it. Like Mike McDonald has his spin on it, Jesse Minter has his, so on and so forth. But at its root, at its core, it's all the same, right? We got two high safeties up. We're going to force you to run the ball, and don't let us have a demon strong safety in the box like a Derwin James, like a Kyle Hamilton. Sky's the limit for this defense. By the way, Lisa in the chat, what's up, Lisa? Lisa says, how will Anthony Weaver help the defense? He's going to motivate those guys on the defensive side of the football. He does not have to worry about the X's and O's, Lisa. All he's got to worry about is getting the Jimmies and Joes ready to play and have their hair on fire on Sundays. Plus, he's also got coaching and coordinating, play calling experience. Anthony Weaver does. Perfect matchup, perfect couple and duo. Anthony Weaver and Jesse Minter. What's up, Chris? What's up, Carrie? Was just on live with Carrie and Coach and Chris on the Ravens Roundup. You guys make sure you guys go check that out after this as well. Had a great time over there. Let's keep going though.
In the run game, but you're inviting the quarterback to run the ball, trying to deny the throw, and keep roofs on top of the defense and coverage, eliminate the X plays, and you're looking at it with the Seahawks. I mean, Jesse led the league in scoring in 24
Bingo.
out here. His first year in the league as a coordinator in scoring defense with the Chargers. Mike's done the same thing. He did it with the Ravens. He's doing it again. And it's just a fun thing to watch. And I've been a part of this, just growing with it myself. So my defensive influence, yes, for early on, but I've now probably learned more from him over the last,
What up, Trey?
4 to 5 years that I've been working with him. And knowing football, I really am tuned in now to this type of scheme that they're playing. And the quarterbacks around the league will tell you this Raven, Charger, Seahawk-type defense. And, of course, Weave did it down in Miami, now back with Baltimore. Denard did it over in Tennessee. So that package has been out there a little bit. Some more successful than others. But it's kind of on the cutting edge right now. It's got the sim pressures. It's got the way to double people. You can play a lot of zone, crank it down to play more man if you've got the skill level to do it. And we were a big zone team in L.A., and I just think that's because Jesse.
Yeah. Fun fact: in the playoffs and even before that, throughout the season, the LA Chargers, when they were running zone coverages, most of the time, I think like 27% of the time, they were running cover 3. Right. So yeah, they ran a lot of zone, but they ran a lot of cover 3. Why? Because they had a Derwin James. And I think that you have that same ingredient here in Baltimore with Kyle Hamilton. So it'll be a seamless transition from what Jesse Minter was able to do in LA with that defense. And that LA defense came on strong, especially towards the end of the season. It's going to be a seamless transition between what he was able to do in LA and what he's able to do in Baltimore, man. Let's keep listening.
He's smart enough to do what the players around him can do. Howie Roseman, a dear friend and a successful GM up there with the Eagles I worked with way back in 13, 14, tried to hire Jesse 2 or 3 years ago. And then when they came out this year to play us, the Eagles versus the Chargers, he came up to Jesse. Of course, he was very, jokingly in a way saying, man, I should have hired your butt 3 years ago. We wouldn't be in the shape.
See, and look, when Howie Roseman, one of the best GMs in the league, knows what's up with Jesse Minter, he said he wanted to hire Jesse Minter 2-3 years ago. And when they played this year, he went up to Jesse Minter and said, hey, look, I should have hired you, bro. Our defense wouldn't look like how it's looking right now. We'd be in way better shape. Right? Not to say that the Eagles' defense was dog shit, because it wasn't. But overall, the Eagles, we all know they could have been better. And he's admitting, Howie Roseman admitted, I should have hired Jesse Minter. Says something. One of the best GMs in the league. Let's keep listening.
Friend. And but what Howie expressed to me, I thought was a great compliment to Jesse. He says, number one, you guys play more guys on defense than any roster in the NFL. Every guy, you carry 20, 21 guys into the game, and most every guy gets playing time. He says, secondly, you're not the most talented roster, so he's found a way to maximize the strengths of every one of the players. Maybe
Again, Jesse Minter is the type of coach who can do more with less. And there is no shortage of talent on the Ravens defense. I mean, again, we're talking Kyle Hamilton. We're talking Roquan Smith. However you feel about him, he's still an all-pro linebacker. You're talking about Nate Wiggins. You're talking about Marlon Humphrey, however you feel about him. You're talking about Travis Jones down low. And God forbid we get Nnamdi Madubuike back.
minimize or develop the weaknesses, but try to find what a guy can do and let him do it, and not try to do something you can't do. Did he want to play at times a little bit more man? Sure. But we also know that we had really, really good zone corners. Maybe that's not true with the Ravens. You got some number one sitting over there at corner, and that's what he's looking forward to. So he's kind of a chameleon. I mean, and that's not a negative. That's a positive. He adjusts and he adapts and he flows with what he knows can work with the parts around him.
Hey, Rick, let me ask you this, and the fans here would love to know this along with us. Oweh couldn't do squat here, couldn't get any sacks here. He goes out there and he gets, with the playoffs, 10 and a half. Something.
So here's where it's about to get juicy. How the hell did Oweh manage to put up 10-plus sacks on a short season with the Chargers, but he couldn't do jack shit in the first 6 weeks with the Ravens? I mean, this is something that I've been dying to know. Ravens fans have been dying to know. So here we're about to find out why.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. What was different?
Well, number one, the guy's motivated. Obviously, he's on a contract year. We know that part of it. But he was around Khalil Mack, who is a Hall of Famer for sure. Mm-hmm. He was around Thule, a rising star in the Charger family. Yep. Bud Dupree, an older veteran. So he was around some guys, just as he was with the Ravens, of course. But you could look at it then and say, well, it's motivation, it's contract time. We had a great young edge coach out here named Dylan Roney, does a nice job bringing out his skills. Jesse knew how to use his skills, knew what things to call that could accentuate that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just an example of using the skill level. And the other thing, Ben, that's most important, it's not just that he had, and look at his number production per play played, because these other guys, Oweh didn't get a ton of reps. I mean, he might have played probably 50% at most of the plays during that 7, 8, 9 games he was with us. And then the production, I mean, that last game alone.
Boom. So right there, I mean, basically what Rick Minter is saying, of course, it was a contract year. Of course, he got traded, so he had a chip on his shoulder. But most importantly, he had veterans around him, which allowed him to not have to assume such a large role, right, in terms of snap count. And I think that did him a lot of good, right? That did him so much good because he was able to kind of simplify his role and not feel so much pressure to be the number one premier pass rusher, right? I mean, again, you've got Khalil Mack, you've got Thule, who had, I think, 12 or 13 sacks this season. Again, that guy's a dog. Hard to pronounce his name, but he's a dog, right? With those guys around you, it makes it a little bit easier, when you don't have to play as much. We were asking Oweh to be the guy. Maybe we're asking too much from him.
Against the would-be New England Patriots Super Bowl team, he had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
And so he's got the skill level. I'm not sitting here trying to court him back. Well, maybe, but no. But that's an example, though, of what you're saying. How can a guy be so-so at one place and accentuate greatness at the other place? And I do think it's a credit to Jesse and the staff, and then, of course, Oweh himself. He was motivated. I guess when you get traded, there might be a little kick in the pants to say, hey, somebody didn't want me. I'm going to prove. I thought that was a trade that was good for both teams.
Correct.
I love
Again, shout out to 105.7 The Fan, which is where his interview came from. The link is in the description to watch the full interview.
Oweh Gilman, tremendous young man. I mean, as you guys have already seen in a short.
Also, shout out to Cordell Woodland, friend of the show.
Short time yourselves. And Adolphe's a good man. I
Yep.
mean, he is a great player. He gets up and talks in front of the team every now and then. He's a man of few words, but very powerful words. He's a great competitor. Played at Penn State, and but that's an example of using a guy's skills both schematically within stunts and rushes and those types of things, and just freeing a guy up. I mean, once he got there, I was telling the D-line guys, I said, listen, let's just let this guy free rush and let the other guys around him clean it up. You kind of call those cover stunts and things like that, as long as you're together. Can't have him doing it independently, but as long as you're working together, you can do that. But he was fun to be around.
Some more good insight right there. They just told Oweh, hey, look, man, go rush the passer, big dog. You know what I mean? Like free rush. None of this like, oh, make sure you don't break contain stuff like no. Go get the quarterback. Plain and simple. See ball, get ball. That is the type of coaching that you need for these edge rushers, especially for a young edge rusher, right? And I mean, Adafe always definitely not too young. He's not long in the tooth either. But again, he was just asked to do the wrong things. And that's a I mean, that's an indictment on John Harbaugh. It's an indictment on, Zach Orr as well. It's an indictment on Dr. Rush, Chuck Smith, if I'm being honest with you. Because I mean, we saw time and time again. We saw time and time again where Adafe Oweh was not really asked to just go after the quarterback. He was really good at setting the edge, don't get me wrong. He was really good at chasing down backs, you know? He was really good at chasing down scrambling quarterbacks as well. But let him do what he is there to do, rush the damn passer. Torres says, so Oweh was held back. What a surprise. Exactly. Torres says it's an indictment on EDC. I disagree, man. I disagree. I think it's more of an indictment on the coaches, man. I mean, because those are the guys who are telling them to go out there. Hey, look, make sure you keep that edge, set that edge, hold that edge by any means necessary. Rushing the passer, cool. You could do that every now and then. You could do that every now and then. But we need you to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Chargers just said, hey, look, bro, go get the quarterback. See ball, get ball. Period. And it worked out to the tune of 10 and a half sacks. 10 and a half sacks on a short season. And then what, 2 forced fumbles or something like that in the playoffs, or 2 or 3 sacks in a playoff game and a forced fumble? Come on now. Come on now.
For the short amount of time we had him.
Hey, Rick, two questions real quick before we got to go. Number one, how did Jesse put his staff together? And number two, are you part of the staff coming out to Baltimore? Hopefully.
Yeah, I will have a role of some sort. It's not been announced or approved or anything of this nature, but I'm appreciative to Jess and the Ravens for trying to.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that, right? I mean, hey, look, Rick Mentor is revealing right there. He will have a role on this staff. It's not been announced yet by the Ravens. It has not been announced yet by the Ravens, but he will. Rick Mentor, Jesse Mentor's father, will have a role on this coaching staff. Very, very interesting stuff there. Great insight.
Make it work. I want to be an asset to Jesse and the Ravens. I certainly don't want to be a shadow or a burden or, here's the head coach's dad walking around the building. I don't ever want to present myself that way. I just want to be one of the boys. And I love the game. I'm a lifer. I like to stay in the game and help and contribute any way I can. So however that works out, I'll be most appreciative, but nothing's final, nothing's announced. But I do think it's positive that I will have an opportunity to relocate out there to be a grandpa, a father, and then hopefully be on the staff and contribute any way I can.
So what I want to know is what phrase is Rick Mentor going to bring to Baltimore to replace the Jack Harbaugh, who's got it better than us? What is he bringing to the table? That's what I want to know.
That's good. Now, what about how did Jesse put his staff together? Because you mentioned college roommate, the kid from Navy. How
Yep.
did he get? I mean, we were both with. I think you were there when Chris Doyle was at Notre Dame, correct?
Yeah, I know, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did he?
Oh, little buffering here. Little buffering.
How did he get Declan and some of the other guys?
Well, he was very diligent about how he went about it with he and Eric, and he's trying to stay on the cutting edge. I think the first thing he probably thinks about on offense is what do we need to do to ignite Lamar, the best player on the planet, when he's right? When he's electric,
Yep.
he's dynamite. And so, what move can he make to enhance that? Listen to him, involve him. And I think in this case, hiring a younger guy, perhaps, kind of a rising star, people could question that. I mean, dude, the guy's 20, 30 years old.
Right.
I call these guys like McVay and Shanahan and Doyle, perhaps, and maybe a Davis Webb down the road. I call them whiz kids. I mean, I'm freaking old, right? I call them whiz kids. They're like the high tech generation guys. They're coming along at a clip and a pace much more accelerated than some of us. They see the game differently. And my vision and hope for Deck is that he is that way, that he can bring this vision of very openness and inclusiveness, putting together the run game and the pass game. And I think getting Lombardi around Deck was probably a comfort hire,
Yep.
somebody he's known and trusted.
These are things we've been saying. They brought in hold on.
Now
Yeah.
for a year.
I don't want to do my guy Cordell like that. But this is what we've been saying. Declan Doyle is a young guy. You bring in what Rick Minter calls a whiz kid at offensive coordinator, somebody who can potentially relate to Lamar Jackson and meet him at his eye level, meet him where he's at, right? Because Lamar's 29, Declan Doyle's 29, right? They're probably going to have some things in common. So the tandem of that, and then Declan Doyle also, he don't got no wife, he ain't got no kids. So what does he got? Time. It's perfect timing, like Shador Sanders. He got nothing but time, right? He's going to be grinding this offense out, man. I mean, it's gonna be great.
Kind of that mentorship. There'll be others. He's really high on the O-line coach from Atlanta, and we played Atlanta last year.
Dwayne Ledford.
Right? So I've seen his work up front. They're one of the best running game combos and pass protectors. He was coached by a friend of mine down at East Carolina. So again, it's another connection. And, PJ's going to be on board, college roommate, total ally, trustworthy. He had Mike Mickens at Indiana State years ago. He played at Cincinnati.
Hey, Heather. How you doing?
Brian Kelly recruited him at Cincinnati, or D'Antonio did. I called Brian Kelly up when I got to know Mick much better and said, you need to get Mike Mickens to Notre Dame. And he did. He followed through, got him there. I got Chris O'Leary to Notre Dame from Florida Tech, who was a Jesse guy. And then now he's replacing Jesse. So all these things are kind of all connected and in the family. But I think Mick and PJ on the back end, and then of course Weave coming in on the coordinator, I think is a tremendous hire. He's a domer. Ben, that instantly gives credibility. I mean, I'm partial, but anybody that comes out of Notre Dame has just got, to me, the hardworking character, intelligence quotient working for him from the day he leaves campus. And he became a Raven, I believe, if I'm correct, in playing. He's gotten into coaching. He's taken it and took it for a test drive in Miami. And I give Weave credit. I know he and Jesse had to make a deal, or make the deal to become coordinator. But Weave, I think, is making a great strategic move here. I mean, he went out and did it for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, because Weaver, he definitely could have went and gotten another job as defensive coordinator where he was actually going to get to call plays, right? But he decided to come to Baltimore, familiar place, right? Not going to get to call plays. He's still a DC, but he's not going to call plays. That's going to be Jesse Minter. So it's going to make Anthony Weaver's job easier. It's like a chestnut checkers move by Anthony Weaver, right? I'm going to come here to Baltimore. I'm not going to have the responsibility of calling plays, but I'm still going to get a lot of the credit and shine if the Ravens defense does well underneath the X's and O's and the game planning of Jesse Minter. Right. So it's like a win-win for Anthony Weaver.
As a coordinator, I know he wants to be a head coach and do his own program someday, as we all do. But he took a move that says, okay, I'll come into somewhere where Jesse Minter might call the defense, much like Mike is doing. But I'll learn from that. I'll tweak my own thoughts, and I'll pick up on him. He worked with Mike. Weave did. Got a coordinator job. Now he's got a chance to come back and be a coordinator. He'll man the room and do the practices. He'll do lots of things for Jesse. But then maybe Jess calls it on game day. I get that. But Weave steps aside, puts his ego at the door like Domers do, and says, okay, I can do this, and I'll come out of it the other end so much better and improved. I think that's a great strategic hire for him. I think it works for both parties, both for Jesse, for Weave, and the Ravens. And then there'll be other guys, whether it's the up-front guy. I think a guy might be coming out of Michigan. Somebody that Weave, somebody, Wink worked with him. So again, it's got a connection. So Esposito comes in already knowing the system to a degree because Wink had that system at Michigan. So it's just a lot of connections. And I'm not the one to release the names of all the staff that haven't been released, but it's getting closer and closer, and Jesse's happy with it. If you notice, a lot of it is college coaching, and we've said ourselves, so many times guys that come out of college, and we kind of had that kind of staff with Michigan and the Chargers, and it kind of proved its mettle. Great college teachers, Ben, as you know, are great teachers. They have to work the fundamentals. They don't assume anything. So many times if you're just an NFL guy and that's all you've done, you just assume things, that, hey, these guys are pro players, they are.
He's spitting right there, y'all. I don't know if y'all was listening, but he's speaking some facts right there. You know what I mean? When you have these college coaches, and we got a lot of them, we got a lot of guys coming from the college ranks to come up and coach these Baltimore Ravens. And when you're coaching at the college level, you have to focus on the fundamentals because these are all young guys in college. When you've bounced around the league a whole bunch, right? When you've done that, it kind of makes it so you get used to guys. You get used to, and you start assuming that guys know technique. You start assuming that guys already know the fundamentals, right? But these guys coming straight out of college, they're going to come into the NFL with their college brain like, wait a minute. You over there, who taught you that technique? How long have you been doing that? That's wrong. Here's how you need to be doing it. We do have a super chat donation. This one's coming from Heather. Uh-oh. Miss Heather making it rain, making me put on the cowboy hat. Again, appreciate you, Heather, making it rain here on Quiet Storm Sports. Heather says Jesse Minter is assembling a heck of a coaching staff. I'm excited for them to get to work. We just need to find wide receiver and tight end coach. And again, thank you so much for your $5 super chat donation, Heather. Appreciate you, partner. But yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right. I think somebody said in the chat earlier, like the first day of school for these Ravens is going to be interesting to say the least. It's not going to be the same sort of transitional period from off season to ramping up for the regular season under John Harbaugh, right? It's going to be totally different. It's going to feel different. The culture is going to be rebuilt brick by brick. And that's what I'm most excited for, Heather. It really is. I was on record saying in the Ravens roundup that they've assembled the Avengers of a coaching staff. They've got checks and balances everywhere. It's like, oh, Jesse Minter, who is an X's and O's guy who's going to call the defense, but maybe you have some questions about leadership and how he'll be able to galvanize the defense and really rile them up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hire Anthony Weaver as defensive coordinator, who's a hard-nosed, tough guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, checks and balances. Oh, we got a 29-year-old offensive coordinator who we just handed the keys to our Lambo to. Go out and get Joe Lombardi, who's been coaching up offenses since the 90s, right? Worked with Drew Brees, worked with Justin Herbert, worked with Bo Nix, a bunch of different guys, checks and balances. You got a bunch of college coaches coming in to kind of get those fundamentals nice and sharp again, sharpen the tools. That's what those college coaches are going to do. Checks and balances. Everything is cohesive. Everything makes sense together, Heather. It does. And that's what I love the most about it. We also have a couple of gifted memberships from Heather as well. Look at Heather going off in the chat. Give a shout out. Let's clap it up. Clap it up for Heather. Again, I might not be able to take off this cowboy hat. Appreciate your partner once again. Appreciate that. Let me see who got a membership from Heather here. Dre got a membership from Heather. And also Decove24 got a membership from Heather. Make sure y'all say thank you in the chat. Make sure y'all say thank you in the chat. Again, with the memberships, you know what that means. You automatically qualify for our giveaways. We just gave away a free Lamar Jackson jersey last week to Trey Biz. That should be on the way to him. Can't wait for him to get it. Next, we're gonna give away some Purple Rain podcast merch. Right, I'm thinking about doing a. I wanted to do a hoodie. By the way, guys, I'm a pretty damn good designer. Right, if I must say so myself, one of my talents. I was thinking about doing a hoodie, but it's probably gonna warm up soon, no? So I'm thinking about maybe doing some t-shirts as well. I'll probably do both. Probably do both. Right. It's probably gonna be cold for a little bit longer on the East Coast. So maybe I'll do a hoodie and then I'll also do some short sleeve stuff as well for some of my people who live in the central time, like me. I live down here in Texas, down here in Houston, right? Where it's 80 degrees today, it's 70 degrees outside right now, right? So for me, I'm not wearing no hoodies, but maybe for y'all, I'll design some. But regardless, if you're a member here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel, you automatically qualify for our member giveaways. Thank you so much, Heather. We appreciate that. Appreciate that so much. Let me see. Chris says hoodies are year-round wear. Yeah, I mean, if you're a homebody, right, and you like to keep your house cool, that's for sure. I agree. I agree. But let's listen to what he has to say here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Heather with another super chat donation. Damn, I just took the hat off. Gotta put it right back on. Gotta put it right back on. Shout out to Heather dropping the two-piece in the chat. Appreciate you, Heather. Heather says, what free agents do you have staying and leaving? I talked about this earlier on Coach's channel. I think I have Isaiah Likely leaving, unfortunate as it is, right? Declan Doyle, you know, I know he would be able to get the most out of an Isaiah Likely, but the problem is Isaiah Likely's value is a little bit high right now, a little bit too rich for the Ravens' blood, maybe. If the Ravens can really, really nail the Lamar Jackson contract, right, and they can make his deal team friendly, they say, hey, Lamar, look, you know, we're retooling everything for you, right? We don't think that we should be 8 years into your career without a Super Bowl. So we upended our coaching staff, got rid of Harbaugh, got rid of the offensive coordinator, got rid of the defensive. We uprooted everything for you. So can you please just do us a favor and give us a team friendly deal here so we can bring back an Isaiah Likely, so we can bring back a Tyler Linderbaum. But unfortunately, I think that Isaiah Likely is going to test free agency and somebody is going to scoop him up and make him an offer that he cannot refuse, that the Ravens cannot match. So I think Likely is gone. I think Linderbaum stays. I think that they probably go ahead and franchise tag Tyler Linderbaum. That's going to be important. Dwayne Ledford loves to run a lot of outside zone schemes, and Tyler Linderbaum he excels at that. Now, when you ask Tyler Linderbaum to go one on one, mano a mano with a bigger nose tackle who's right above him, like a zero tech, it's tough for him. He kind of gets his butt whooped. He's a little bit too light for that. He's a little bit too small. But I think with the scheme and then also the continuity and snaps and things like that for Lamar Jackson, I think you have to keep Tyler Linderbaum. Um, Of course. Y'all want Falele back? Y'all want Falele back? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Pat Ricard, though, Pat Ricard has got to stay. Got to stay. However, I think that is going to be tough because Declan Doyle and that Ben Johnson off they didn't run fullbacks, right? They preferred having an extra tight end on the field, like a dedicated playmaking tight end, like an Isaiah Likely, which is why I think Declan Doyle will campaign to keep Likely in Baltimore over a Pat Ricard. However, that is going to hurt my heart. That's going to hurt me to my core because Pat Ricard means so much to this offense. Non-Ravens fans don't even understand. You talk about how it was a night and day difference between when Pat Ricard was hurt for those first month and a half of the season, first 6 weeks, something like that. Derrick Henry's running production to after Pat Ricard came back. he was springing open some of those holes for Derrick Henry to run through. I think you got to find a way to get Pat Ricard back. You got to find a way. That's just me, though. That's just me. But thank you so much, Heather, for the super chat donation. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. She says Harbs is about to get Likely. Yeah, I've heard Harbs is coming after Likely. He's coming after Linderbaum as well. So I don't know. I don't know. See some of you guys talking about dinner in the chat. Your boy is hungry. Your boy is hungry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been streaming for what? I think I'm going on 5 hours today, guys. And I ate lunch maybe around like 1, 2 o'clock, something like that. It's like almost 8. So after this, I'm definitely gonna hop off and get some dinner because it's been a long day. It's been a long day. But let me see if what's her name? Rick Minter had anything else to say. Let's listen.
The top of their game, and that's not true. Like Gaddafi, he comes in and everybody has these expectations. Why? He's a first round draft pick, but that doesn't mean he's totally developed. And so college guys so many times can start at ground level and raise them and teach them techniques and fundamentals that they may or may not be receiving with some older, wise NFL D-line coaches or linebacker coaches, not demeaning them. But I just think college guys are great teachers, and that's what you have to do to have great staff. Is because the Ravens are what? Draft and develop.
Yep.
How do you develop? You cannot develop without being teacher oriented.
Yeah.
And technical, fundamental teaching oriented.
So, Rick, we got a roll right now. But hey, listen, Cordell, both of us, we're always out at the OTAs mini camps. So I'll see you, probably at the rookie.
So that was pretty much it right there. Again, shout out to 105.7 The Fan, Baltimore Sports Radio. If you do want to check out their channel, scroll down to the description and click on the link. That'll bring you to the link to this full interview here where you can click on their channel, see all of their awesome content as well. Again, shout out to Cordell Woodland, friend of the show here at the Purple Rain podcast. So let's go ahead and switch back over here. Let me see. Let's go here. There we go. So you heard it there first, folks. I mean, what the main takeaways from that interview, right, is number one, Rick Minter will have a role on this offense, or not this offense, on this team, period. We don't know exactly what it's going to be yet, guys, but he will have a role that is confirmed. But number two, you're going to see that philosophy, right, that comes from that Harbaugh tree, breathe new life, or I won't even say new life, breathe familiar life into this Ravens team and specifically to this Ravens defense, using a lot of zone coverage, right? And most specifically, cover 3 looks. The Chargers ran a lot of cover 3, more than any other zone package last year. And again, I think the continuity of going from having a Derwin James, if you're a Jesse Minter, to having a Kyle Hamilton, who is probably the smartest player in the league. Now, maybe a hot take, but I don't know if you guys saw the video. Kyle Hamilton is just, he's a brainiac. There was a video of Kyle Hamilton listing out pi. You guys know 3.14. Listing out the entire number sequence. I mean, it's like 20, 30 numbers. I mean, just the memory. Kyle Hamilton and Jesse Minter are going to be demons together, working together. I mean, offensive coordinators are going to wake up in cold sweats in the middle of the night, preparing to face off against the Baltimore Ravens defense. And again, I think that Jesse Minter, just like he unlocked Odafe Oweh, Mike Green this season, when he puts on 10 to 15 pounds and is coached up by Jesse Minter, and Jesse Minter tells him, hey, look, go do what you did at Marshall. See ball, get ball, rush the damn passer. Don't worry about the lanes. Don't worry as much about setting the edge, keeping the edge. Of course, they'll teach that as well. But most importantly, do what the hell we drafted you to do, which is get the quarterback on the ground, create tackles for loss, and that opens up opportunities for turnovers, right? In the regular season and in the playoffs. Heather was mentioning free agents. Dre Jones is another guy who I think that the Ravens should bring back. I think you offload Kyle Van Noy and you bring back Draymond Jones. That's me. And then you go out and you buy another piece at edge rusher. I don't have faith in Eric DeCosta in drafting an edge rusher. I think Mike Green was a steal. So I think you got to go out and buy a guy. And there's been a couple of names floated out there, like a Luke Van Ness, and Max Crosby is the hot name, but he's going to cost way too much, I think. We're not going to go the Micah Parsons route and give up 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby, unfortunately. So if the Ravens do go out and they buy an edge player, it's going to be a less sexy name. But like Rick Minter said in the beginning of that video, Jesse Minter is a coach who's proven to be able to do more with less. So that gives me all the courage in the world, guys. It does. It really does. Don't forget to join the Rain Gang, guys. Please like this video, subscribe. Subscribe to the channel as well. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe. Shout out to all the new members here on this episode of the show. We had 2 new members gifted by Heather. So shout out to Heather as well. Kimberly, what's up, Kimberly? Says, yo, what's up, Sutton? What's going on, Kimberly? Appreciate you for coming through. Longtime watcher and supporter of the show. Asmodeus, my guy, what's going on, Asmodeus? Says, if they get a pass rusher, it's Trey Hendrickson. I don't know about Trey Hendrickson, man. It's just the injury history for me, dog. Like, you talking about a back injury that you just got surgery on, and you're going to be in a 3-point stance, hunched over, ready to rush the passer. Tackles who are twice your size, constantly stabbing you in the back, quite literally, when you're trying to bend around. I just don't know about Trey Hendrickson. Sounds cool in theory, especially coming off of, his season before last, where he had, 17 and a half sacks, something like that. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that his body's going to be able to hold up through a 17-game season plus playoffs. That's my only concern. And what we'll have to give up to get him, Uh-oh, we got a new hire? Says Tila. Tila's always on it. When we get a new hire, let me check my phone. Let me see what's going on. What's the word? Uh-oh, I see Jeff Zariback and Jonas Schaefer tweeting late at night. Oh, okay. From co-captain to coordinator, Anthony Levine Sr. was a special teams ace as a player and is now our special teams coordinator. I love that. I love keeping this guy in-house, right? Anthony Levine was such a great player on special teams when he was playing for us. So now that he's going to be able to coach our special teams here, and our special teams, let's get one thing right. Had its ups and downs this season, with from Tyler Loop missing that field goal against the Steelers, which again, if that didn't happen, we might not be having the same conversation right now. But besides that, Tyler Loop, with his in a lot of spots, terrible kickoffs, right? Either kicking it out of bounds, kicking it outside of the landing zone, whatever it may have been. That was a thorn in our sides. A thorn in our sides all season long. Jordan Stout continues to make strides. I will say that. He definitely took a step forward this season with his punting ability. But I love Anthony Levine as special teams coordinator for this team. Again, you're keeping guys in-house. You're keeping that familiarity, right? At least as much as you can. Anthony Levine Sr., special teams coordinator. Anthony Weaver, right? Defensive coordinator. Jesse Minter had a stint with the Ravens back in early 2020s. You know what I mean? So I love it. Uh-oh, Asmodeus with the super chat donation. Appreciate you, Asmodeus. Got to put the hat back on. Hat's coming back on, y'all. There we go. Appreciate you, Asmodeus, dropping the 5-piece in the chat. Asmodeus says Parsons has vertebrae disc fused from back injury, and everyone wanted him this past offseason. This is an EDC type of splash, not a real splash. Micah Parsons is also a freak of nature. And we've seen since day one what Micah Parsons has to offer. I think Micah Parsons is just more of a natural pass rusher, where Trey Hendrickson, he had one great season. I don't know if I can put that much value into Trey Hendrickson as much as we put into Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, honestly, for how he's built, because he's not built like Myles Garrett. Let's get that straight. Not Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons is more so closer build-wise to a Mike Green than he is a Myles Garrett. And he still terrorizes tackles with ease, and that type of talent can't be understated. Trey Hendrickson, great player, but he's not worth anywhere near, I think, the capital of Micah Parsons. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. Asmodeus also says, I know this from my very close friend who's a Cowboys fan. He also needs to take injections for his back. I don't sound too pretty, not gonna lie to you. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if the Ravens went out and they acquired a Trey Hendrickson, but I would have my concerns. I wouldn't say it's a home run acquisition. I would say it's probably like it's a good but not great acquisition, because I just don't know if he's going to be able to last again all the way through January. We're not looking for a guy who in the first 10 weeks of the season can put up big gaudy numbers for us, sacking the quarterback. No, we need a guy, most importantly, in the playoffs. We do. And I get it, Micah Parsons has his qualms as well, his issues, but we're not in the running for him either. He's a Packer for the foreseeable future. Thank you, Asmodeus. This drink I'm drinking right now is good. My girl be buying these prebiotic sodas. My guy Torres knows what I'm talking about. That's what I'm sipping on right now. A little Bloom Pop. Prebiotic soda. Supposed to be pretty good for you. I like them. But again, appreciate your super chat donation, brother. Asmodeus. I see Ashley in the chat, another one of our members. Good evening, Ashley. Thank you for coming through. Trey and Green under Minter could do some damage. I agree there. I agree. I think that honestly, get a productive pass rusher who's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, and a guy who doesn't have an extensive injury history. If you can check those three boxes, if you're productive, like just slightly above average even production, and you're not super injury prone, and you're not going to cost an arm and a leg, I think that's the perfect fit for this Ravens defense. Because again, Ravens already have a lot of money and capital tied up into the defense. And Jesse Minter, again, is known to be able to do more with less. Carrie says, Bloom Pop, send that check. Exactly. I'd be free promo for a lot of these brands. I mean, yeah, y'all know I don't mind putting on for what I like. But yeah, send that check. Send that check. Protein soda, that shit's good. You gotta recommend me a brand, bro. Recommend me a brand. And I'll definitely try it. I'll give it a shot. Uh-oh. Another super chat donation. Asmodeus says, you have lines open. We need to talk. I do not have the lines open tonight. I didn't have that set up for this episode of the show. Unfortunately, Asmodeus. But Asmodeus, I got you. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live with Coach and Ryan from the Flock Rundown, and we're going to play Armchair GM, and we're going to go through the Ravens offseason. So I hadn't planned on opening up the lines there, but I got to find some time to open up some lines, man. I'm thinking, and I know this might seem far away, but I'm thinking Friday. My Friday is free. My Friday is free right now. And of course, I'm going to do Quiet Storm Sports on Friday. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is, Modius, now that you just reminded me, I'm going to do live calls for members only, of course, on Friday. I don't have it set up tonight, unfortunately. I don't, but I am going to do it on Friday. So, Asmodeus, please, 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 please do not forget to come through. And I'm going to remind you, because I know you'll be there in the morning or midday tomorrow for sudden reactions. And I know you'll probably be there on Thursday. You're one of the most loyal viewers on this channel. I appreciate you, brother. But Friday, I promise. I promise. Lines will be open for members. Lines will be open for members. And appreciate that, Asmodeus. Appreciate that. Haven't been able to take off this hat. But okay, guys, look, I'm not here to hold you guys too long on this one. I am gonna get out of here. I've been streaming for almost 5 hours today. I gotta go get some food, guys. I gotta eat. I gotta eat. Unfortunately, I'm running on E. I'm running on E right now. He wants to make his case for Trey Hendrickson. I know. I know. I know. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance. I promise you. I promise you. But guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the stream here. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys as always. Again, tip my cap to you guys. Everybody who has liked the video, subscribed to the channel as well, donated to us, memberships, all that good stuff. What time Friday? I'm thinking. Let's see, so Eastern time. I'm thinking 4 p.m. Eastern time Friday is what I'm going for. 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's 3 o'clock my time here in Central. So 4 p.m. Eastern time, I will be live on Friday, and I will be opening up the lines for our members to join the show. Again, appreciate y'all. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night. I will see y'all tomorrow on Sudden Reactions. We've got a lot to get into on that as well. We had a great time this morning. 2.5 hour episode earlier today. That was a lot of fun. So see you guys in the morning or midday tomorrow for Sudden Reactions. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. DeWiz, you didn't say nothing the whole time. You just popped in at the very end, but he says, peace, peace, brother. Peace, brother. Again, my name is Sudden Death. Remember, stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Please be sure to like the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.